From the center of the galaxy, live on a Friday, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And we're here to take your calls. We've been doing this for a bit, and we've had a lot of fun out there, you in the audience, calling in. I'll explain how that works if you're just jumping in. But it's just kind of been me hanging out on a Friday because Joseph was a little busy, and let's be honest, sir, still busy carrying out your vision of your first feature film, but good to have you here. And everyone wants to know, how are you and how are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm really happy with the way the film was received at the premiere, but now I have a lot of work to get it out into the world, which is stressful. So I'd rather spend an hour talking to Star Wars friends right now.
Indeed. We have a little bit of a main topic, but that's just only to kind of center and focus the stream when you're promoting it. But we'll happily take your questions from all parts of the Star Wars galaxy. Hey, if you want to toss in some other center things about James Bond or Indiana Jones, we're here for about an hour having fun with you all. The main topic today, Joseph, is kind of Star Wars characters we grew to love. I was thinking back at we're kind of in this 10 years of ForceCenter. And early on, I was, very anti-Grievous and famously anti-Puffer Pigs, but love Puffer Pigs, and didn't just come around on Grievous, understood and appreciated, and now just really enjoy his place in the Star Wars story, both as a character and as a theme.
That I looked down for just a second and I didn't realize that sound was coming from your puffer pig, and I thought you had installed like the wacky morning drive DJ soundboard that we talked
about if we need it. But that's great. So that's one of mine, and I think I also I always talk about Ahsoka Tano because I was one of those, did she just say snips dudes in 2008-9 range, and she grew to be absolutely not just a great character in Star Wars, but one of my favorites as well. So it's been fun to trace that. So I'd love to hear some folks out there. Do you have any that popped to mind for you?
Yeah, I realized I always liked Grievous. I had a little bit of that bump of he was much more of a badass in the Gennady Tartakovsky animated. So I had a little bit of bump there, but I always liked him. The one that I never disliked him, but I didn't take the time to appreciate him, is a small side character named Anakin Skywalker. It's a total age thing about the prequels I watched them so through the eyes of Obi-Wan Kenobi and so obsessed on Obi-Wan Kenobi. And for me, I kind of saw Anakin as a plot point of he's going to become Vader, and I have a relationship with Vader. But this is just the mistakes that this kid makes in order to become Vader. And I think from watching the Clone Wars, but also getting to hear from fans who are a little bit younger than me and grew up with Anakin and how much that Anakin meant to them, I just started to really appreciate Anakin. So it wasn't that I ever disliked him or thought he was bad. It was just sort of like a disinterest that has been growing a lot over the years, but in particular, really, I would say in the last, 10 to 5 years with the Clone Wars, and then really appreciating Hayden's performance and really appreciating that those are all choices that he and George made, and they're really distinctive and really powerful. And man, that the Ahsoka episode with Anakin and some of the insights into how Anakin and Vader are absolutely the same, that are shown so well in the Kenobi series of Obi-Wan knowing Anakin's psychology, and it still translates to the choices that Vader are making. Just my appreciation for the character of Anakin Skywalker has really grown and grown.
I think that's a wonderful answer, because this is very much, we're speaking about our generation, our perspective. And to be clear, not everyone in our generation sat in that theater and didn't like Anakin Skywalker, didn't connect, but there was just that energy. And we want to also stop and say we absolutely love Jake Lloyd. We love his place in the Star Wars galaxy. And we always wish him well in what he's dealing with and overcoming in his life. But that time, that was part of the bad talking points. Him getting raked over the coals by even crew and all the stuff. And I think that for my, our generation, I should say, you sat in that theater and you're like, hey, Darth Vader is a kid. It's just our arms were crossed immediately. And that was part of it for me too. But I'm with you. I grew to appreciate the character so much more and appreciate so many moments in Jake Lloyd's performance.
Oh yeah, gosh. So I'm a person and my name is Anakin. At the time I kind of laughed out a little bit because like, oh, the cute kid is being mean, but it's like it's a
Mm.
hell of a thing for somebody who is property, is a slave.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's got a little bit of
Well, but
energy about his own identity and who gets to decide it. And
mm,
like there's so many layers there when you let yourself embrace them.
yeah. I know over the years we've talked about it, but just your 2005 General Grievous thoughts. You mentioned the Clone Wars thing and everything, but at what point did you kind of clue into the purpose of the character? Because I guarantee you got there faster than me.
um, yeah, I probably while watching like I was supposed to be finishing a script that I was very late on that I was being paid for, and I
Mm.
irresponsibly left my home instead of finishing a script to go to a store and buy the Revenge of the Sith DVD the day it came out, and then started rewatching it a lot. And I think so. It was probably like 2006 when I was rewatching the DVD a lot of thinking about like, oh, he's not just this villain for Kenobi to bounce off of. He is this Vader-like figure, and I think made me start liking him more. And just the weird delivery started getting stuck in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's a meme now, and people love it of the General Kenobi.
Mm.
Um, and then noticing the probably unintentional comedy of it's a volcano planet. You'll be safe there. Endeared Grievous to me. And then just rewatching Clone Wars, the Grievous Lair episode is so good. It's
Mm-hmm.
so good. It's so monstrous and so sad to see all those like body parts hanging like, like Fred
Mm-hmm.
Flintstone's clothes. It's just like,
Yeah.
here are all my legs if I need them again, because I have made, myself this soulless monster.
Monster. Yeah, and Grievous, is an ultimate example to me. Again, I was on ForceCenter 10 years ago, going, he's one of my more disappointing characters, which was an honest answer because I love the design, I love everything about it. You love him in the trailer, and then you're in the movie. It's the jokes. He's just this hacking, broken, scared guy, and it's a perfect example of when you stop and go, yes, the point. Do you get it? Do you get it now? Are you paying attention? And to have that kind of eureka moment a little bit later by Star Wars fandom even helped me look at other characters in Star Wars a little different. So I owe a lot to General Grievous. So thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. Novelization helped too. I should remember that.
Yes.
Novelization, that much celebrated
Well,
Matthew Stover novelization.
Yeah, and I think we might both now have a copy of the anniversary Revenge of the Sith novelization out with the annotations and stuff. I want to go through. It is a gothic looking book. It's great. But does remind. It's been a while since I poked through it. Doesn't that kind of touch upon him? That's the whole. He was unveiled in the catacombs beneath the Petronaki Arena, and there was just kind of this like a monster beneath the in the caverns or something.
I don't remember that. That would be super cool, and I'm sure other people listening remember. I remember the discussion about how Kenobi defeated him in the novel and why the council was wise to send him is because Grievous was all about aggression and overwhelming and attacking you with this, impossible, computer-assisted mechanical precision with 4 lightsabers, and all the Jedi kept going against him, kept trying to match his aggression and his level of attack. And the novel talking about how Kenobi's preferred form was the Sarusu, I believe, but that Kenobi was all about defense, and Kenobi having that epiphany of like, everybody tries to match him in brutality and speed, and I'm just going to frustrate him by just going, no, I'm just going to block you and block you and block you, and when you leave it open, I'll take one of your limbs. And I just remember that making me think like, oh, that's what this character is about, is that dark side, bigger, stronger, faster, always wins, and Kenobi being sort of clever and insightful enough to be like, no, it doesn't have to.
Yeah, despite one maybe misthought kick but it's in the moment.
He was in the moment. It was a bad choice. It was a bad choice.
No, absolutely, you're right. And you and I talked when we were talking about the micro series. What's the Dirge, the character that I've never taken to.
Yeah,
but it's a similar thematic approach with Kenobi, which does make me appreciate it a whole lot more. And that's why we love digging deeper here at ForceCenter. Some comments, and we got some calls here coming in here. Will Dixon says, I didn't care for Grievous either, but my wife loves him. He covers his mouth to cough even around droids and hates his organic form. She has arthritis issues and feels his frustration. David Mackay at Channel 19, check it. I love all the Gen Xers whined about Vader. This badass for the OTV and a vulnerable child. And George said with Attack the Clones, you know what? So was Boba Fett. Deal with it.
That's why whenever the Palpatine discussion comes up of like, I feel like George's ethos is so nobody's just born. They ain't right. Bad things happen to all of us, and some of us make better choices. And I think that's the story with both poor traumatized Anakin and Boba. And I love that Lucas was so adamant, like, okay, fine, you all love the bad guys, they're cool looking, but they are sad people who have made bad choices.
Wait till you get to episode 2. All right, let's take some calls. For those who are checking in, you can become a Patreon member to get the call link in at patreon.com/ForceCenter. And then for those in the queue, we can see your faces. So here's the rules. I hate to say it like rules, like I'm a host at a stand-up comedy show on a Friday night. The bathroom's there. Don't talk during the audience. No, I'm kidding. If I see or we see here your camera is up, that means you're camera ready. We kind of have fun taking the pictures and seeing your faces. It kind of adds to just making the show look a little different from other things. If you're not comfortable with that or you can't, maybe you're on the go. If you turn off your camera, I can see that it's off, and then we'll go audio only there. So that's the only rules I have in place, Joseph, on the show that's been going on here.
Okay.
We do want to see the faces. I did it by accident, and then it turned into a good thing. So our first call of the day is from Jedi James. Camera ready, Jedi James. You're outside of the Jedi Temple. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can I be heard?
You are loud and clear.
Good. I keep worried I'm going to have these audio problems like the last 2 times. I'm doing wonderful today. It's a Friday. It's always a good thing.
It's a Friday indeed. Do you have a character that you love now, but maybe didn't at first? What's on your Star Wars mind today?
There's always one answer that will come with this one, and it may be a surprising answer to some people. Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. When I first watched The Force Awakens, which, gosh, 10 years ago, that's incredible. And I love the 10-year look backs you all have been doing. They're amazing. When I first watched The Force Awakens, and I was so ready for this Dark Warrior, this quote new Darth Vader that everyone was talking about, and Kylo Ren will tell you too. I'm Darth Vader, and I was so like, I will finish what you started. I'm looking at that mask, and then when he took off the mask, I didn't understand it at first. I just thought he was whiny, Skywalker traits. Surprise, surprise. I thought he was irritable, and when he killed Han Solo, which devastated me, but I was just like, oh no. Even though I loved Han's death, I was also like, I don't like you anymore, Kylo Ren. Die! I'm thinking very dark side here, clearly. And then just for so long, I just continued to not fully understand it. Or maybe I just didn't want to see it. And that took like 4 years. Four years. But it was, I think, 6 months before Rise of Skywalker came out. I don't know what happened. Somebody said something on a podcast or a YouTube channel, and something just snapped with me. And I was just like, huh. And I finally understood what he was trying to represent. I understood that, yes, he is badass as the dark side does, but as George Lucas will say, as you just said, you're not supposed to cheer for them. And yes, he looks cool in the helmet. He looks cool with his saber, but he's miserable. He's traumatized. He's conflicted. The deed splits your spirit to the bone. And I just finally understood who the character was, and didn't always agree with his choices, but I was just like, this is a great villain. How did I not see it before? And like for so many years, I was just like, I hope Kylo Ren dies a painful death. By the time Rise of Skywalker came out, I was like, no, I want him redeemed. And when that moment happens in Tross, when you build up to it, and then his memory of Han comes after Rey heals him in an act of compassion, when he sees what's possible, when he realizes he's been lied to the whole time, and everything that happens after in that movie, ow, and is finishing what Anakin started. I understand the character now, and I always say, never was I so happy to be so wrong about a character. And now here I am all these years later. I'm like, not like ecstatic for the Hunt for Ben Solo news, but I'm still just like, oh, Adam Driver, I would have loved to have seen him. I'm reading the Legacy of Vader comic right now. I just read the most recent issue, and it's amazing. Whoever hasn't read it, please read it, because it's awesome. But yeah, Ben Solo, I was wrong, and I'm happy to say I was wrong. He's an amazing character. And of course, how you feel about a character is not wrong. It's your opinion, but I'm happy I grew to understand who this character truly was. He's a dark warrior. He's badass, but he's also lost, confused, all understandable things, but he chose some wrong choices and he found his way back again through the love of his father, me and you. Sorry, I'm
curious.
talking too
No.
long.
I'm curious if you're comfortable sharing. How old were you when The Force Awakens came out?
I was 16.
Okay. Do you I feel like all of your responses to Kylo are part of what the filmmakers want, of being like a little bit of a shock of the disconnect between how attractive and unwounded he is, that there's nothing for the helmet to sort of hide. And also just that, yes, there is a part of him that is kind of a little bit of an entitled rich boy from our sort of Star Wars perspective of like, you come from the best possible family. You have all the gifts. You have to just genetically be the best pilot alive. What the hell do you have to be sad about? And you can tell me if this is too personal, but do you feel like there was someone or something in your life that Kylo resonated with that made you react to those negative aspects of his character?
I don't know if it was anything in my life personally. I think it just was that moral, what you're talking about, Joseph. Like, you have these parents, like you come from this family, and Han Solo, why would you do this to him? And then we're forced to answer that question in Last Jedi. Why did you hate your father? Give me an honest answer. And why what? Because your parents threw you away like garbage too? Or like, oh, Han Solo, he would have disappointed you. Like, the clues were all there, and I just didn't want to see what Adam Driver was portraying in his emotions, in his face. I was just worried about the surface level of it all. So I don't know if it was anything in my life particular. It was just, as you're saying, Joseph, it was just that, how could you do this? And just, I didn't want to see the nuance behind it all. Again, not a good action. I don't think killing your father is a desirable action. I would not advise it. But yeah, no, I think it just was that on the surface. On the surface. Again, I was reading it on the surface. I didn't want to dig deeper, as the good people of ForceCenter will encourage you to do.
It's hard. Look, but that's why I confess my sins. And by the way, this episode is not a confession. No one has to confess their feelings of characters then and compared to now. I want to make that clear. But Ben Solo accepts your apologies, James. But that's how we take things in. I don't fault anyone who's just like, yeah, I don't know, I didn't dig too deep, or I didn't pick up on the themes. Like, I just don't think we're trained that way, you know. And it evolved in my life. You know, I evolved to get to that position. And you know, I remember the moment, and I was going to ask both of you, but Joseph, you might have the memory too of just like when Kylo takes that helmet off. And it's Adam Driver with the long, flowing, feathered hair, like he's a member of Badfinger in 1972. Like, the theater laughed, and that I was in the early viewings, and that kind of undercut him for a lot of folks too, if that had any effect.
Yeah, I think I saw it in the theater 5 or 6 times, and there were laughs a couple times. But like, yeah, I loved it because I think I had thought so much about what the mask means to Grievous and to Vader, and I think I related to it because I think it had come up a lot in Gen X for some reason, of kind of feeling like the generation before us who went through a lot in the 60s, and you know, our parents and uncles who, you know, went to Vietnam or got married too early to avoid the draft, and that's kind of a feeling like the generation before us had gone through some real bleep. And our generation kind of, like, Kurt Cobain has pretty famously suffered from feeling like, what if I'm not authentic? What if the pain I feel isn't validated? And I saw a lot of that in Kylo, that sort of Gen X malaise of, I want my face to be scarred with lava because I don't feel authentic.
Right.
You know, and to me, that was just like, oh my God, somebody who wants to need a mask but doesn't was so cool.
Yeah, it transforms into one of my favorite scenes and moments. And by the way, I love Badfinger, one of my favorite bands, and I love their hair. But it was just, I remember there was a lot of reactions of, and again, but that goes to, even for you, James, expectations and how they are wonderful and dangerous, a double-edged sword. And I think there was we knew what Adam Driver looked like, but there was like, we wanted him to have that pain too, as just suggested. We wanted like scars, and he's a Nepo baby with flowing hair. And you know,
in good product.
And, you know, at the end of it, I think part of that too is you talk about the expectations. It wasn't just the look. It was also, again, in action. And just like you see Darth Vader and Darth Maul and Darth Tyrannus, the gentleman monster, as Joseph will call him. And just like, but when you look at those history of Darksiders, maybe even some Darksiders I saw in like video games like the Darth Malgus and the Old Republic cinematics or whatever, they're always cool, confident, that cool badass. When Kylo Ren had that mask, but then he took it off, look at how emotional I am. And look, I can't hide it anymore. And again, I wasn't expecting it. But you know what? Props for doing something incredibly new in that regard. Because see, The Force Awakens did do new stuff.
Quick comment here from Obi-Wan Jacoby. There was a guy in my first viewing who did a wolf whistle every time Kylo took his helmet off.
I got news. That wasn't a guy. That was actually Molly Damon. That was Molly. Molly was wolf. I see you. I see you, Molly. I see you, Molly. James, great stuff. I think that's a great answer, and love hearing the growth there with that character.
Thank you for letting me share it. I can't wait to see what other great Ben Solo stories / Kylo Ren stories we get, even if they don't happen post Truss. There's still Obi-Wan Kenobi dies, and we still get plenty of stories, as you said, Joseph. So plenty to share still.
Indeed.
Thanks for letting me share today.
You got it. Thanks, James. Thanks, James.
Busted, says Molly Damon. Wolf whistle for Force Awakens, wolf howl for The Last Jedi, I'm sure.
Indeed. Yeah, a lot of fun. Tully said some folks dislike Dooku, and I don't know why. Lee did so much with so little, and they gave him and they've given him so much subtle complexity. Yeah, and we love Dooku here now, but yeah, for me that was just yeah. I mean, at the time, you know, first of all, you're making fun of the. Speaking for myself, making fun of the Dooku name. You don't know any reasons for it. You don't know the origins. We don't have the internet flowing as freely as we do now. We definitely had it, of course, and it was going and all the leaks and all that stuff. But like, you know, you didn't engage with it. You're just like, Dooku, that's a weird name, and it's an old guy, the guy from Lord of the Rings, like, and that just kind of carries the conversation for far too long. And that's some stuff that happens.
Matthew Stokes says, to my generation, Dooku was a Dracula Scaramanga mashup, Scaramanga villain from James Bond lore. Yeah, I thought he was a great twist, and he played it. He was still a badass, still confident, and still, you know, even in Attack of the Clones, the evil shone through. So yeah, I thought he's great. I look up my Count Dooku action figure.
Yeah, and then of course, exquisite and sassy pajamas is an all-timer. It's an all-time look. Let's go to our next call here. I believe she's camera ready. She's the resident professor of smart things over in the blathering world. An actual doctor. Addie calling in today. How are you, Addie?
Well, it might be Friday, but I'm unfortunately still at work. So
okay, you're grading papers, teaching the future chemists of the world. What are we doing?
I'm dealing with computer issues. So
fun.
Yeah, I had to download a bunch of data to run a model. I didn't realize every data package I downloaded was a half a gigabyte being stored on my computer until my computer informed me this morning that I only had 14 gigabytes of storage left. So I've been trying to problem solve where to put them ever since.
Now, I know you're in your office, right?
Yes.
Do you have lines of students outside your door like Indiana Jones? How does that work?
I mean, not right now. It's 5:30 on a Friday.
Okay, but maybe on a Tuesday. Maybe on a Tuesday.
They're all the parties have begun. It is the weekend.
Well, we all got to get to some parties then tonight. What's on your Star Wars thoughts? Characters? Any characters that you grew to love?
So you've already mentioned it. It's 100% Ahsoka Tano, as much as I hate to say it. I think it's in part because I came to the Clone Wars very late. I did not watch the Clone Wars. I think I didn't seriously sit down to watch the Clone Wars until the pandemic. Like before season 7 was coming was when I finally watched the Clone Wars. I had watched it. And like, I watched the movie and I was like, no, thank you, pass. And then it was one of those things that like, I never knew when the cartoon was on, when it was like actually airing. Like I never knew what time it was on. I didn't know when to tune in. This was before DVR. So I had no way to like find it then. But when I watched it during even when I was watching it at the first time, like early season Ahsoka, it was not until Rebels and then that last season of Clone Wars that I was like, oh, I get this. I get why people like her. And I think it just had to do with like, I was a little older. I had my Star Wars characters that I really related to. Like I had Padme, I had Leia, I had Rey by that point. So like Ahsoka wasn't even my first prominent female Jedi. For me, that's Rey. So like it didn't fill a need that I had that she probably filled for so many other people when the series was airing in real time, or they found it much earlier. Like I watched Rebels after it had aired. So, but like that storytelling, the connection with Anakin / Vader, that episode where she fights him in the temple and winds up going to the world between worlds, like all of that, I became so excited for the Ahsoka series. I have mixed feelings on it. But that the Anakin episode is one of my favorites. Her appearance in her appearances in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, absolutely fantastic. But she was one of those characters that really took her a while to grow on me. And even now, like there's still things that I watch and I'm like, I don't get it. Someone explain it to me.
Early Ahsoka stuff?
Yeah. Like when I revisit early Clone Wars, like I've tried to rewatch Clone Wars again. I just am like, I still don't know how you all latched onto her so soon, but I know I have to watch early Clone Wars to be able to rewatch season 7. Season 7's so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think some people had a resistance to her because she could fall into the sort of the stereotype of the kind of kid sidekick who's young and enthusiastic. Is that grating to you, or what is it?
She was a little annoying. But
Sky Guy or Tui?
Yeah, but it wasn't even like the nickname stuff. Like that didn't bother me. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just that like I understand the role she filled for a lot of people. She just didn't fill that role for me. I think, like I said, I had Rey. I didn't need this like powerful female Jedi that we'd never had before. I got one of those already.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's, and you're acknowledging the perspective of others there, but that still doesn't, and that sometimes even have that with the Ahsoka series where like, I get what it means to a lot of folks. It doesn't mean that to me, but we have to live in that balance. So it sounds like you were open to it. You just have to acknowledge that this isn't working until later when it does. When she matures as a character, her place grows in the story. And she has so many moments of poignance and depth that it's hard to turn away at one point, I think.
I think I started to really like her. I watched the film in the theater and I bumped up against the film for lots of reasons. Zero's voice being one of the main ones because I didn't understand the references. Like, what are we doing here? I don't even know what that is, but I'm offended. Now I understand where it comes from and all that. But I think I really started to like Ahsoka when I was watching the Clone Wars for the first time on Netflix in 2014 and realizing how much she was like Anakin. And I really liked her from that perspective of somebody who is very enthusiastic, very much wants to do things kind of her own way, and is facing some of the same dangers of that perspective of being very quick to attachment, but keeps having all these moments where she navigates those dangers better than Anakin. I think that's where I hooked into the character for myself.
And in chat, Obi-Wan Jacoby, season 3 is where she hits her stride. I think the entire show hits its stride in season 3. There's some great stuff in 1 and 2, but even Filoni and Henry Gilroy have remarked those first 2 seasons we're just kind of excited that we get to make Star Wars references in the show as we put it together, and the show grows. And I'm not saying she gets washed underneath that. And for me, I don't know if this probably maybe wasn't one of the things that you hit up against, Addie, but for me, I definitely had the push the glasses up. Anakin didn't have a Padawan vibe. Like I had to kind of work through that, as did Dave Filoni. So we're in good hands, good company.
Yeah, I didn't bump up against that as much, but I think it's because like again, by the time I came to it, it was canon. Like Anakin had a Padawan. Like there was no arguing.
Yeah, right.
Because it was true.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Totally.
So what do you like about mature Ahsoka, or more mature Ahsoka in Clone Wars Season 7 and Rebels?
I like the way she sort of has found her own way to be a Jedi without being a Jedi, if that makes sense. That like she is holding on. It's almost akin to like people who grew up religious and no longer are part of organized religion, but they still have some sort of spiritual connection. Yeah. I see a lot of that in it, of like, I still believe in these principles, but I think that the organization is flawed and I cannot be a part of it. Yeah. And I like that. I like the independence. I like that, you know, she is sort of carving her own way and saying how she is going to live her life and not the way that the galaxy says that she should live her life. She's still helping. She's still true to who she is, but she's doing it her way.
Yeah, no, I really agree with that. I really love that about her, of that, hey, the Jedi taught me all sorts of great things, and I'm just going to go do them, because they weren't always doing the things that they taught me to do. I don't have a huge religious background, but I went to Catholic grade school when I was young, and you know, I was told lots of things about being nice to everyone, and then the teachers were extremely cruel. And it's like, why did I like that part where you told me to be nice to people. I'll go do that.
And I also
take a godly ruler and strike thine hand. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it says a lot about her that after what she went through when she wound up leaving the order, she still believes in those principles.
Right. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things about her. Yeah. Yeah. She became herself in that moment. That end of season 5 thing is still, that's what's one of my favorite Star Wars moments. So earned. Such a journey. Addie, thank you for calling in. Thank you for sharing everything. But look, it's 5:30. Late on a Friday and you're in your office. Order in, drink some wine at work, and try to have somewhat of a Friday night.
There is a bottle of vodka in my desk.
The kids.
How did that happen?
The students don't need to know.
It's for Chem Lab.
This is for my Chem Lab too. Perfect.
No, for real. We measured the amount of copper in a Moscow Mule.
Oh wow! So you have all the fixings for a Moscow Mule in your office?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to for chemistry.
Yeah. Your night is sorted. You're going to have some fun. Thank you, Dr. Addie. I appreciate you calling in.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
all right. There you go. You know, I kind of suspected some of my teachers were getting hammered. You know, I had a couple of them.
Oh, yeah. I think Sister Janet definitely had probably some schnapps in her desk.
My chemistry teachers, there's a whole wing of chemistry teachers that we found out later, they would just like get high and after school, like they'd all meet up. And that's chemistry is where I learned to play poker in that class. So,
all right. Nice.
A lot of calls lined up here. Let us go to our UK correspondent, our unofficial UK correspondent, because you know, I don't want to get too big of a head, but Matty Gunner checking in. Hey. It's late over there, buddy. It's time for your bedtime, rock star.
Do rock stars even have bedtimes? Oh my god, I really didn't think about the camera angle when I was looking at this comment.
It's all right. It's all right. You just look like a floating deity above Joseph and I. It's like you're like the Bendu. First of all, congratulations on your new EP released from your band Mourner, the Axe Forgets. So
nice.
Everyone should check that out. Available where you get your favorite music choices, or just buy it directly so the artists actually get money.
Yeah, you can, as you said, you can go wherever you stream your music or go to Bandcamp. And you know, you guys both have releases on Bandcamp there. It is Friday. I don't know if it's Bandcamp Friday, but
it's not.
No. Oh
well. Yeah, check it out. Mourner is Maddie's band. Maddie, what do you got in terms of? Hold on. Addie's clearing legally. For the record, I've never consumed alcohol in my office. Legally speaking, Addie's clean. Maddie, a character you've grown to love in Star Wars.
So this is going to be a surprise for you, Ken, because I know you've guested on mine and PLD's podcast. Okay. Mine is Hondo Ohnaka, who's kind of the page. He was the patron saint of our show.
Yeah.
And for a while, I thought he was just kind of like a villain of the week. Like, this guy, we're never going to see him again. He's just this annoying pirate type that somehow managed to capture the two most powerful Jedi and Count Dooku and hold off Maul and Savage Opress. Okay. But he then turned into this kind of study for me of morality versus ideology of these people who necessarily have their own moral code that goes against what ideologies would perceive to be right and wrong. You know, if you see a poor person stealing, in my opinion, my moral code, if you see a poor person who can't feed their family stealing from a grocery store, no, you didn't. So Hondo has done some terrible things. He's a pirate. But then he also goes on to help rescue children. He's a rebel at heart through and through, from being a pirate to going on to actually being a part of the rebellion. And to me, that was a good lesson in, as I said, morality versus ideology. Sometimes you do have to move away from what we've been taught is right and wrong and kind of establish your own moral code.
Yeah.
Love this. Yeah, great. And I get it. Back in 2014, when I was on Jedi Alliance, one of my pals, Joey Rockenstein, a comic, came on the show, and he was like, before the show, he's like, "Can I talk about Hondo Ohnaka?" This is 2014. And I went, "Who?" I had just not paid attention to this character. I watched the show. Oh, the pirate guy? Yeah, why would you? Yeah, I guess if you want to talk about that. And I'm with you. And he also changed. He was a little more villainous, and Joseph and I cover that in depth on Clone Wars Report, and then he becomes everyone's favorite crazy Uncle Hondo. But yeah, within it is some powerful moments of what you're talking about, Maddie. So I get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I first watched the Clone Wars, I didn't gravitate to him because, like, yeah, who is this comedy pirate who is taking it to all the most powerful people in the galaxy? But then, yeah, as I watched it more, I think just some of his lines and delivery are really funny. But I love, one of my favorite arcs is the kidnapping of the children, because he starts by, I'm going to kidnap them and sell them, and if some of them die, what are you going to do to, this ain't right. I gotta rescue them. And in a way, I think it's kind of like this. I think the world that we see him living in is a sort of, it's like a toxic alpha male. Might is right. Everybody's going to try to screw everybody. So you just got to be number one, and, you know, go and party and have the booze and the ladies and have the underlings. And I think there's this great picture of, as he gets older, he's just like, okay, I don't subscribe to that anyway. I'm still looking out for Hondo, but I'm doing it in a way that's not like violent to anybody. Like, oh, I love Ezra, but I'll absolutely steal from him financially. But I would steal from Ezra, and I would do anything to protect him. Is a really interesting evolution of, I still have some of that sort of toxic alpha weak way energy, but there's lines I'm not going to cross, and there's people I'm willing to help.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Where are you at now with Hondo Watch, Maddie? You and PLD still counting down? You know, where do you hope he shows up again? Where's your dream?
We're counting down. I've been hoping for a long time for a live action Hondo, whether we get origin story, or my dream cast is to have Antonio Banderas play live action Hondo, because I feel like he's got the crazy like mannerisms that I think would be really good for Hondo.
That's great. That's great.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
When do I think he'll next show up?
I mean, the options somewhat are limited, but I don't know. Could be Filoni's film. More
maybe he's the one that ends up leading the search for Ben Solo. Who knows?
That's it. I can find him. Let's do it.
He's worth a lot of money. Yeah.
Maddie, thanks for calling in with that answer. Appreciate you there. And again, everyone, check out Maddie's band Mourner. Get him on Bandcamp. The new EP, The Axe Forgets, which is, of course, Star Wars inspired, Maddie. Yeah,
It is inspired by Andor, the axe baguettes, and yeah, down with fascism.
There you go. Indeed, indeed. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Maddie, for checking in.
Thanks, Maddie.
All right, we got an audio call here. We're here for we got a lot of calls today, so we're rolling through. We'll be here till we get them all here. Call in, you become a Patreon supporter. What are you drinking, sir? It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I want to make sure I'm keeping up.
Oh, this is a limoncello spritz that I got from Ventura Spirits in Ventura.
Ooh, I am drinking water. I got to catch up. Ethan checking in, audio only. Ethan, how you doing, buddy? Can you hear us okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
You're loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear. What's on your mind?
Actually, I wanted to call in and talk about Rose.
Ooh.
Okay. Rose Tico, yes.
Rose Tico. So I was not... So to be clear, I've never hated Rose. There was something about her that just kind of annoyed me. And I know, obviously, there's a lot of controversy around the character. This is nothing like that. There was just something, I don't know. I think mostly it was just tied to the fact that she was very associated with a storyline in the movie that I just plain didn't vibe with and didn't get. So, Canto Bite and all of that. But I don't know, as time has gone on and I've listened to you guys and others who, like her and everything, I've, come to enjoy her a lot more. Still not like a top 10 for me or anything, but I do. But yeah, I appreciate her a lot more.
Well, go for it, Ken. Sorry.
Oh no. Go for it.
What do you appreciate about her now that you've come to a little bit more peace with accepting that storyline, even if you don't super love it?
Just especially in the kind of climate we find ourselves in, fight for the things you love, not the things you hate, or, I'm paraphrasing the line, has really started to resonate with me a lot more. And, it's weird. For the first little while of watching the movie and everything, and on repeat viewings, something about just, I guess, her delivery and her cadence kind of annoyed me. But then somebody pointed out, I can't remember where it was, that it kind of reminded them of almost like an old-timey, Casablanca type of line delivery, and I started to like it more. Stuff like when she first meets Finn and is talking about her sister and says something to the effect of, and my sister, she said to me, that's a real hero, just the way that she says it, you know what I mean? But does that make sense? It it really does kind of sound, like kind of an old-timey kind of delivery. And for me, it kind of when I realized that, and not that maybe it was on purpose, but just the way that it is, and she kind of has that way of talking a little bit throughout, it kind of makes me think, okay, this is a little bit of a throwback, just like Star Wars is.
Yeah, I think what you're picking, and again, separating the talk of the character from what Kelly Marie Tran went through and all the stuff there. It is. I don't know what you're building behind you, Ethan, but it's I hope a wonderful project.
I am in the last stretch of a drive home from a place an hour and a half away, and I was this close to being out of gas. So you are hearing gas station.
I'm hearing gas station noises. Amazing. I'm glad you're getting it home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're talking
Loves,
about Last Jedi.
if you've ever heard of Loves.
Yeah, I have heard of Loves. Good place to get donut gems and a Mountain Dew. Yeah, quickly for me, like I think for me, you might be picking up on what I had sometimes picked up on, which is a little bit of a tonal difference between her performance or her character and some of the other things, which I think might be a directing issue more than anything. But I also think, though, because I love this character, I love what she represents, and I also think she represents Ryan as I think the earnest nerd who is kind of Ryan. I think, and I don't know what you think about this, Joseph. She has some of the most earnest lines. She has some of the most like, I punched the whole town, all that kind of things. And that can sometimes just rub cynical audiences the wrong way. It's not her. It's not the character. It's just the situation to me.
Yeah, I think to me, what's interesting about the character Rose is that she is this sort of this everyday perspective of,
yes,
she isn't the hotshot pilot or the Jedi. She is just the person who volunteered and does, good, solid mechanical work, not the super genius or anything, which I'd never really thought about her lines from that perspective. I think a lot of her lines have a specific delivery because they're comedic lines, and they have a sort of kind of like modern comedy cadence to them. She came through
LA Improver,
UCB, yeah. Upright Citizens Brigade. But now that you guys are both saying lines and I'm thinking about it, I think there is something very purposeful about that sort of older world everyman. I can hear almost all of Rose Tico's lines said by Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes,
I like to punch this whole town, and my sister said to me, it's there is something about like, I'm salt of the earth, and this is the way we talk.
Yeah. Now I need to see that. I need to see that. Yep.
Say what we love, not fight what we hate.
But hey, Ethan, you're getting the spirit of the show. You start at one spot, you're ended in another spot, and a lot of times it's just engaging with it and seeing it, spending time with it, and maybe also seeing other people's perspective on it there. So I think Rose is a very great answer.
And just kind of on that note, and I'll be done. Frankly, 10 years or so of listening to you guys, that taught me that. So just know that, the things that you say and like your perspectives and everything mean something. And I am very grateful to have found ForceCenter. So anyway, you have a great rest of your day, and I will continue to drive safely. 10 and 2.
Thank you. Get home safe, Ethan. Get home safe. We appreciate those kind words.
Thanks, Ethan.
And yeah, now I need to see a sketch written by you, Joseph, of Jimmy Stewart as a Jedi. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. We have Eli, we have Chris, we have Detective McCarcel lined up here, all camera ready here. So let me make sure I'm getting that shot set up. Eli checking in, and it looks like we have a bunch of Star Wars characters behind you here. How are you doing, Eli?
This is the graphic I found. I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on. I was thinking of a bunch of characters, including Rose, actually. I've never hated Rose, but I grew to love her in much of the ways Nathan was describing earlier. But I instead want to talk about a different character that's already been mentioned. Okay. But there was a character death in some of the original films.
Seen him? Okay.
And I heard about this character. Oh, what if they brought them back? The death was so disappointing. And I'd always been like, oh, if that ever happens, if they ever bring this character back from the dead, I want the character to immediately then die in a more silly and humiliating manner than they died the first time. And then we saw season 2 of The Mandalorian. And I fell in love seemingly against my will with Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Mandalorian made me love Boba Fett. And then the book of Boba Fett made him one of my favorite Star Wars characters, which is an event that 2020 Eli or 2019 Eli would have been aghast by. I would have been so confused that Boba Fett is now one of my favorite characters. But yet, what The Mandalorian season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett provided with that character really just changed how I view that character. And I credit Jon Favreau specifically, and Dave Filoni, but Jon Favreau, as he was the writer of all those episodes, immensely, as well as Robert Rodriguez as the showrunner of that show and the director of the tragedy, with just, and it was that the massacre of stormtroopers on Tython that really just was like, oh, I get why everybody thinks this character is badass. I get, like, Robert Rodriguez and Jon Favreau were able to perfectly transform, like, perfectly bring out the Boba Fett that they saw in the original trilogy onto the screen. And it immediately, like, conveyed to me, and I think I've heard a lot of other people talk about this, it immediately conveyed to me why this character was so beloved. The neat darts, the rockets, like, I go back to him launching the rocket from his helmet at the one Imperial transport, which then explodes, crashing down on the other transport, turning the helmet back to the Mando and Fennec, and Mando goes, "Nice shot. I was aiming for the other one." Classic, just classic.
So I want to start here. And Joseph, you definitely might have some thoughts on knee darts. Eli, I know you're of a younger generation than us. So when you arrive on the Star Wars scene, was there any questions to your Star Wars elders of like, what did you all see in this guy? Like, why did you? Because I understand it. 'Cause he's one of the coolest characters of all time, but I also didn't have a connection to him as much as other people. So where were you when you first learned about this character and the hype?
Yeah, no, I remember like just being like hearing about Boba Fett, hearing about the fandom around Boba Fett, hearing about the hype around Boba Fett. I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Which is fair.
I had the same thing actually with Maul, which I have not turned around on as wholesale as I have with Boba Fett. I still disagree. Even though I love the Clone Wars, one of my favorite Star Wars anything, I still disagree with the decision to bring Darth Maul back, though I cannot deny that the stories we've gotten from it have been just incredible.
Yeah.
But Boba Fett was just like, yeah, no, he stands there and looks cool, I guess, but like he doesn't do anything. He just kind of stands there and then
he just nods.
Yeah, he nods and the Han hits him with a stick while blind, and then he falls into the pit in some sort of like Chaplin-esque like comedy beat.
Sure.
And everybody's like, now we want him back. And I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
Exactly. To do what? And then of course Legends like lionized him and made him a whole different character. And the character in Legends was super weird. There's this weird passage that I remember sprouted up on Twitter like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, where somebody found a passage of him, of Boba Fett in the Legends novel, talking about how sex before marriage was immoral. Which is just one of the most weirdest things I've ever seen in a Star Wars book.
Boba Fett's got some ideas, which are fine, which are perfectly fine.
Mandalorian chastity belt, yeah.
Joseph, you were a little more alert going into Return of the Jedi with Boba Fett, as we've discussed. So you have a different perspective from me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, for me, it was, the context was there's an era where there weren't that many characters who looked as cool as Boba Fett in 1980. You know, you start to get into the later 80s and you start to get, the Terminator and Predator and other things that are, kind of badass. But Boba Fett just pointing a blaster and shooting in that armor was around some of the most badass science fiction things you could possibly see. And in particular, if you were cognizant between Empire and Jedi, you filled in all of the gaps of what a badass he was, or you saw it in comic books, and then you became furious in Return of the Jedi when he died in a Chaplin-esque manner. And then I think everything in Legends is a a reaction to that of like, no. He escapes immediately, and he is the smart. He's like Sherlock Holmes meets the Predator. He's the coolest, smartest, baddest badass ever. And I think there was almost a overcorrection, in my opinion, in Legends. I read that Bounty Hunter War trilogy, and just like Boba Fett just can do no wrong. You know, he's the I don't really believe in the Mary Sue term, but in terms of that idea of sort of projecting what you want, I think writers projected like, what if a character was perfect? It was the badass and the smartest
there was
possible.
a power fantasy aspect.
A power
of
fantasy.
Fett.
Yeah. And then I loved Kid Boba Fett because I loved George reclaiming him. I loved giving him a traumatic backstory. And I love a Mandalorian era Boba Fett so much to take all of it and make one really compelling character out of everything, out of the impossible badass, out of the traumatized child, out of the warrior, the kind of Mandalorian, the kind of clone, but rejects all of it and just wants to be who he is. Oh my God. Godfather in space. I love that character. And I think it's a great example of yes, and let's take everything that's ever been said about this character and gel it into a character that really makes sense and is compelling.
Let's keep going. Yeah, and then making him into the people's champion. And that was just a great way of doing that. I saw two things in the chat that I wanted to mention. First of all, there was a mention of Boba Fett in the holiday special and the animated Boba Fett, which was the first glimpse I think I ever got of Boba Fett as a cool character. Ironically enough, which even before all that, I'm like, the animated Boba Fett and holiday special and droids was like, okay, I can kind of get this now. But it took it took the Mandalorian for me to really get it. And then actually Jeannie from Teeny brought up who was going to be my backup answer if somebody said Boba Fett before me, which was Crosshair in the Bad Batch, where I remember I was so mad at him just in that first Bad Batch arc because he was just an asshole. And then Bad Batch show gave him one of the most incredible arcs I've ever seen in the Star Wars television show. But great
answer. All right, I love it. You passed the test, Eli. There was no test, but you won. You didn't need a backup answer. That was the answer. Boba Fett, great one indeed.
Yeah, Boba Fett.
Thanks for calling in, Eli. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Love that there. Yeah, I don't even know why. I'd love to go back and observe my own Star Wars life. Of what I was definitely a Boba Fett's the coolest. Look at that stuff too. I don't know, and maybe the 90s. I don't know when it happened. Well before Attack of the Clones, and I wasn't a leader in the opposition to young Boba Fett. I thought interesting enough for me. I didn't have a problem with that.
It honestly seemed Jango Fett full on fight Kenobi, seeing the Fett family starship actually have cool weapons. In 2002, some of that was the wish fulfillment of seeing a Fett do all these cool things, seeing the flamethrower in action, all that. Not just painted on his action figure card, but actually in action.
Fett Family Starship is a great band from '77 that opened up for Starship. We got two Chris's lined up. Chris from Braxham in a second, but now we got Chris here, making sure I'm set up right. Hey, Chris, good to have you back calling in. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, guys, how are you?
We're good, man. We're good.
Yeah. Last time I talked to you, I was on Guam. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm back in the Midwest right now, so
hiding out in the Midwest.
Yeah, enjoying that early sunset.
It's already dark, huh? It's getting there fast for me too. Thoughts? What character have you grown to love?
So for me, in Eli almost swooped me, but it's I'm gonna have to go with Maul. I mean, I'm a OT guy, obviously, as you can tell by the beard. I was 9-10 years old during the original trilogy, so 30-ish when the prequels came out, and I just thought I thought at the time, this is a wasted character. Yeah, it was of course, the Duel of the Fates, you know, the lightsaber. But I just felt that compared to like Vader, the villain, you know, the baddie from the original trilogy, it kind of just didn't really go anywhere. But, you know, obviously I saw the appeal of it. But then when I, you know, started watching the Clone Wars, and he, all of a sudden there's Maul. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And then following his whole arc through the Clone Wars and Rebels and finishing, spoiler alert, anybody, with his duel in the Twin Sons episode of Rebels. That was,
right.
I just thought they really just nailed it. Took a character who barely had any screen time in the prequels and really gave him, I mean, you could say heart, but you know what I'm saying. There was so much with Maul in Clone Wars and then Rebels that, yeah, by the end, I felt for him, and it just really touched me when Obi-Wan just cradled him in his arms and, you know, treated him with respect, you know, despite the fact that he'd caused him so much pain over all these years. So that for me was, amazing. And I'm just super stoked for his series to see more, get more,
absolutely,
more Maul, see what, you know, where they can take him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Maul for me is the greatest example of when they bring someone back and it seems impossible or even at times silly, of just going, hey, it may be, but let's just see what we're going to do with the story and what you can do with the character. I definitely collected Maul action figures, watched the Duel of Fates video on VH1 every afternoon. Like, I loved Maul. I went, you know, and I had a little bit of and he's dead. What? But I also flash forward, and Joseph, you have a similar story of like spider legs. What's happening? What? No. And just, you got to let them cook. You got to let them kind of take these characters to places. And you're talking about some big moments. And now that we're even going to get more with this character, I'm excited for that.
And shout out especially to Sam Witwer for the work he did in making Maul such a character that, you know, you could absolutely, you know, fall in love with, despite the fact that, you know, he's a baddie. Just amazing work. So.
I was never mad at Maul, but I was real mad at George Lucas. Because in '99, like I you know, especially when the trailer came out and like Last We Will Have Revenge, like, oh, I can't wait to learn more about this character, and I thought he looked so cool, and then I loved that Kenobi beat him, but the death, and then I have to track it down because I don't remember where Lucas says it. It might be on one of like the DVD bonus features, but he said like, I cut him in half and had the effects people show his two halves bouncing down that shaft, so everybody knew he was dead. He was just a character for this film. And I don't know if I've ever heard Lucas talk about for himself what finally got to him. If it was all of us going, such a great character, such an intriguing character, what made him change his mind and approach Filoni in a hallway and say, somehow Maul's return figured it out. But I'm continually grateful for that, of like, hey, I maybe there is more to that character, and we focus a lot on the character of Maul, which I think is great, and I can't wait to see him in Maul Shadow Lord. But the Clone Wars, I think sometimes kind of put Kenobi in a box where Kenobi's role is Anakin, until Maul came back and we got to see so much of Kenobi through how he responded to Maul's pointless, sad quest for vengeance. And so I'm really grateful for Maul for letting Kenobi shine in the Clone Wars too.
There you go.
Yeah. Kenobi's my favorite. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. How many Darth Maul pieces of memorabilia have you eventually purchased, Chris, or is it just all Kenobi?
You know, I had tons of the action figures when I was a kid, but I never was a collector of the Star Wars memorabilia for some reason. I did actually have I did get a Maul figure, and I left it on the card, and because my sister had just had a son, and it was the first of the next generation of my family, and I wanted to gift that to him when he was old enough, which I did, and I couldn't tell you now if he kept it or not. I hope he kept it on the card. It may be worth something, but like I said, I'm not a collector. I don't know.
Yeah, $12 on eBay, you might get your own there. But good, a good gesture indeed. Chris, thanks for calling in. Glad to have you back on the main line.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, someone who is a collector. Yeah, we got a couple more minutes left of the show here, but someone who is a collector is Chris. Checking in, a man who deals in the trade of toys. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good, man. I've been wanting to talk with you guys about Star Wars for ever, so I'm excited to be here and talk with you guys.
Happy to have you here. I think you and I first ran into each other 2019 Chicago. I remember sitting chatting with you there. So good to have you here. What's on your mind, man? What character did you grow to love?
Well, all right. So I'm no shill. Let me start off by saying that right now. I'm no shill, but
fair enough. I didn't accuse you of that.
We paid Chris to say that, but yeah.
But I love all the characters. Like, I'm just one of those guys where I just love it all. But if there's something within Star Wars that I'm trying to understand the love for, and this is from the EU, it's the Yuuzhan Vong. Like that, what I'm trying to understand what what people see as far as like these characters, as far as being in Star Wars goes. Because to me, when I first saw them, I'm like, are we crossing over with Alien? Like, is this are these xenomorphs? And the more I read up on them, I'm like, these would make like they would go great, like going up against like Picard and Riker and them. Like they, that like they'd be great for Trek, but I never really saw truly like how they fit. And I don't mean to be a gatekeeper, but like how they would fit in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a distinction I felt in the expanded universe books that I read, is that they can tilt a little bit more to science fiction than to fantasy, and I think that's kind of like a taste thing because Star Wars is both, right? I just the other day, maybe literally yesterday, I follow Galactic Figures on Facebook, and they had a picture of a Yuuzhan Vong action figure, and I was like, I need to work on my Yuuzhan Vong appreciation, because I had that exact same bump that you're talking about yesterday. Literally yesterday, of like, I thought this was a new figure from the new Predator movie. Like, no, right. But I had like a moment of kind of going through it myself, looking at my phone, because there are a lot of designs in like Disney era Star Wars that I feel like do push the limit of what is Star Wars. And I always like those, because they managed to be like, you added this really different ingredient to the stew. Like, I wasn't expecting ginger and vodka in this stew, but all right, it's good, Right. And I think that I haven't done the deep dive for myself. And every time I talk about the Yuuzhan Vong, somebody is gets their hackles up in the chat of like, you don't understand the Yuuzhan Vong. So at some point, I'm with you of like, I need to take some time to understand why people love them, and maybe I won't love them, but I would like to understand more why other people.
Exactly. Like, the last thing I want to be is a gatekeeper, and I'm not one of those people, but I just like, they're Predator mixed with xenomorphs mixed with Cenobites, and I'm like, and then like they're immune to the Force or something like that. Like, or I'm not. Like, all right, this is getting hardcore sci-fi.
Yeah, no, I mean, this has been, I think, around these parts, Joseph and I share a kind of the same view on the Vong, or at least the concept. But I will admit, I stopped on the surface long ago for a lot of the reasons you both have discussed. But I have to eat my own medicine there, take my own medicine. If Dave or someone says, it would be great, let's try to explore these characters in modern Star Wars canon, I would be interested to see what they could do. I was not a fan of whatever the Force stuff was going on. It also had the vibe, and again, I wasn't deep into the EU. I had pulled out long before this, but it had the late in a TV show's run where suddenly they move to Hawaii or something, where it's the Culbersons, and this year we're gonna go live in Hawaii. Like we're just like, what? Yeah. Oh, did you run out of ideas? And that's not necessarily fair to them or those who created them or anything, but that's why I pulled off of it. So I'm with you, Chris. We'll have to follow you down that.
Yeah, and this is I think I read some Wikipedia entries when they first came out in the novels, and it's like Svetnik says, I'm not a fan of any force being characters in all living things.
Yeah.
And I always bumped off that as well as the aesthetic, and that's sometimes where somebody in the comments will come back of like, you don't understand the nuance of the way they interact with the force. It's not that they're immune to it, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, fair enough. I should do a deeper dive to try to better understand that.
Yeah. Like I know that I think they were trying to bring them back, like reading the Thrawn books, and they're talking about a race called the Grisk.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing like maybe like this is like their version of the Yuuzhan Vong or something. I hope. Without them being like outside of the Force or extragalactic. I'm still trying to understand what that means. But
but yeah, that's the thing is they'd find the right way to do it. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aware of that. Chris, though, what are they going for on the market? What's the figure value of those Yuuzhan Vong?
Oh, I don't. I don't know.
On the spot.
I'm afraid to check. I'm afraid to check on that one. The last one was like, look, if they made figures, like if they did like some EU line for Black Series, I'm getting them.
Absolutely.
Do you have Oh, sorry, Ken. Go ahead.
No, well, quick. Douglas Dubois with the Ultimate Gen X trivia thing. Are you saying the Vong or Ted McGinley? Yes, they had the Ted McGinley vibes. For anyone who don't know, look up Ted McGinley joining shows. Anyway, sorry, I cut you.
This is a good one from Jeannie from Tahini. I read the Vong books, and I think in retrospect, people liked them because the heroes had a real challenge on their hands. Thrawn had challenged them, but the Vong were truly threatening. Fair enough, and I do like that. I think I don't like it when Superman gets depowered. I don't like it when Jedi get depowered. I think challenge them in a moral way, in a spiritual way. It's still interesting to have a character. I don't like it when they're like, any time a creator says we made a character too powerful. Like, no, that's the character. Find a way. And that's my knee-jerk reaction to the Vong. Chris, I'm very curious. Do you have this is off topic, but do you have like a Holy Grail figure for yourself or toy that you don't have but want?
Oh, that I don't have.
You got them all, huh?
I do have a ton. Man. Put me on the spot, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. All right. Not so much a figure, but there's a playset that came out back in 83 or 84 or something like that. That was an exclusive to like one store, I think, or something. But it was the Droid factory.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Never had that. Wanted that one. Like I've had the Falcon. I've had the Star Destroyer. That looked nothing like the Star Destroyer, the Ewok Village, all that stuff. But that one was one that got away from me. Then or the Skiff or Jabba's Skiff. Yeah, never had those two.
I had the Droid factory. It's available a couple different places, I believe, but I got it from a Sears catalog in probably like 84 or something. And I just saw a store in Minneapolis has the Skiff in the box.
Oh yeah,
I want to think it's like $800 or something.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably a car payment. Yeah,
but it's beautiful, beautiful to see. Even the box behind glass, like
Wait a minute, what kind of car are you driving, Chris? What kind of car are you driving there? Chris, wonderful. Thank you for that. And happy to now it's here. Chris is going to be on Blank is Why We Love Star Wars very soon, talking about his favorite Star Wars memories. So thank you, Chris. We appreciate you calling in, buddy.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Take it easy.
One call left, and I can go warm up my spaghetti, but we're not rushing through it because he's one of our longtime listeners around these parts. You could call him Michael. I accidentally one day called him Detective McCarsell, and it stuck. Please welcome Michael McCarsell to the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How about you guys?
We're good on a Friday, man. Good on a Friday.
Sorry, I just realized how atrocious the lighting is.
You're good to go, man. What's a character you grew to love?
It's a twofer, if you'll indulge me, but they're intrinsically related, ironically so. So it's the father and son, Han and Ben,
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I never hated Han. I was just never a
Wow.
Han guy. I was just always more interested in Luke's Jedi things going on.
Fair.
I never thought Han was the coolest guy in the room. I thought he was funny. I thought he was comic relief for me as a kid.
Interesting.
Like him running down the hall of the Death Star just screaming. Like that was funny. That was objectively fun. And that I certainly couldn't articulate it the way I could now, but I still, even as a kid, realized he was putting something on. And as an adult, yeah, obviously he's come to find out, yes, clearly he's putting on a facade. He's pretending to be something he's not. And it wasn't until the sequels that not only was that validated for me, but I came around on the character because of Force Awakens and because of Solo. Love Solo because it took me from being a little indifferent on Han, and it made me a true fan of Han.
Love it.
What aspect of the character did you find appealing in Solo?
It was his need for freedom. Even though he kept trapping himself in all these different situations, everything he did was striving to be free. And I respected that in a way that it just hadn't clicked for me in the originals until that movie. Just how much all he wanted was to be able to just live his life, and then everything in the galaxy just kept pulling him back down. So I really came to respect the character for that.
I love that.
And then
it transferred to his son.
It did. And again, I didn't hate the character inherently, but I was, after The Force Awakens, like, okay, so I think that I assumed after The Force Awakens, okay, he's going to kill Snoke, and I think he's going to be the final boss of the sequel trilogy, and I really did, and after The Last Jedi, I was like, okay, I am 100% right here. He's going to be the bad guy, and they're just doing this inversion of Vader, and I wasn't letting the character just exist, and I was dead set on this trajectory because that's just what felt like was set up at the time. And it wasn't until I still didn't like him as a character as much. I was like, I was okay with him as a villain, but we didn't have as much to relate to because we didn't spend much time with him in the same way that we spent with Han, even the originals. But then we got to The Rise of Skywalker, and things go the way they do. And ironically, it's the scene with Han's memory that turned me around on him.
The scene with Han. Okay, yeah.
The Han's not ghost, whatever we're calling it.
The memory ghost.
Yeah. Leia pulling that memory of Han back into the front of his mind, and that scene turned me around on Ben. And I get chills right now just thinking about that scene. It's I would argue the most emotional scene in all of Star Wars.
It's incredibly powerful, and
I put it up there.
Yeah, I saw it today. A snarky post making fun of the sequel trilogy, and in the comments, then the guy who made it clarified that he hadn't rewatched Rise of Skywalker since he saw it once in 2019 and tries not to think about this movie. But he's on social media making fun of it, and he's like, "Hey, anybody who watches it and doesn't like it, that's fine. But like, watch it again. if the Emperor coming back was too fast for you, if the pacing was wrong, if you didn't like this line, that line, like, rewatch it." Because I really I have a hard time imagining people who are willing to give it a chance not being moved by that scene. It is such a moving scene, and it is so relatable. These two people who being honest and vulnerable about their emotions is not the easiest thing for them, and it's what they both need to do to make the hardest choice, which is the hardest choice for both of them is to be vulnerable. And it's a beautiful Star Wars story, and it's I think a beautiful commentary about humanity, but also, at least from my perspective, about masculinity of hey, everything you want is beyond this frightening barrier of vulnerability.
I'm gonna need names, Joseph, of who did that on social media.
I'll have to look because I muted them.
It's someone we know. No, great stuff, Micah. No, I love it. I love this answer. I love Han Solo as an answer. If I may ask too, you're kind of mid-generation. What kind of Star Wars generation are you? Prequels, special editions, Clone Wars?
So I am old enough that I watched the early 90s box set pre-special editions.
Gotcha.
So I was probably, but Star Wars has just always existed for me. I don't.
Yeah.
I might have mentioned it before. I don't remember the first time I ever watched any of the original trilogy. I just fully don't.
They just
kind of sat there forever. But yeah, no, I was like a few weeks shy of my 6th birthday when Phantom Menace came out.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Okay. So like perfect age for the entirety of that trilogy to come out. I was pushing 9 when Attack of the Clones came out.
Super pushing 9.
9.
Almost double digits, Mom and Dad.
Innocence almost gone. Yeah.
And I was coming up on that angsty teenager by the time Revenge of the Sith came out. So I lucked out on the age range for that trilogy for sure.
Did you relate to Anakin? Did you watch those movies through Anakin's eyes?
I certainly didn't have the negative opinions of young Anakin at the time. Like he was me. He was me. Like, he seemed fun. Like I was like because I probably couldn't articulate it at the time, but like that's exactly how I would have reacted if I could pilot a pod. Like if I had spent however long building that pod racer, I would have absolutely been like, "It's working! It's working!"
Yeah.
That is one of the most wonderful line deliveries from Jake Lloyd because it's so real for a kid.
Yeah,
it's so real for a kid. I work with kids at work, and that's absolutely how they act. That's so real.
Yeah, it's working is such a good line delivery,
and it's so uplifting, and it's so heartwarming, and the fact that everything that happened with him was just it's all been said.
Yeah, it's all been said, but hopefully, absolutely, I'm with you. There's just a couple moments that became memes, the angel and all the stuff, just some of the line deliveries that people focused on in 1999. But I think behind that is just is a collection of wonderful Jake Lloyd performance moments there. And you can see what Lucas, years later, I see what Lucas saw in him and what we all failed to see maybe at the time. In that conversation he was having with McCallum on set, he's not going to hit every mark. You might have to pull some stuff out, but he's got the character. He's the character. Good stuff. Good stuff, Detective. Good stuff. We appreciate it.
One thing about Han and Bitten, to bring it back real quick. Yeah. There's one parallel about them that I really appreciated, especially after the conclusion of the trilogy, was that they both are obsessed with the facades that they put on.
Yeah.
As has been mentioned with previously, I think it was James that mentioned that Ben spent his entire adult life just putting on that facade of Kylo Ren, and the same thing was done by Han throughout his entire life. And I think that's just an amazing parallel, whether intentional or not, because I get it. Multiple filmmakers were going into this, but I'm sure there had to have been discussions had about
absolutely
those particular character traits. That's just something that really brought those characters to, or at least that realization brought me to a place where I could really appreciate those characters that much more.
I think that's great. I think that's a fabulous point, and so does the chat.
So does the chat. Ooh, good point. There we go. Detective, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Of course, man. You'll be
all right. Take it easy.
I cut you off. My bad.
Good night, too.
Yeah, good night. A couple start comments. We'll get through them. We'll get on out of here. Thank you for the super chat. Snar. I can never say Snars. I sound like I'm saying Snarf. In grad school, a million years ago, the chem department was the second biggest drinkers on campus. Going back to Dr. Addy, he also adds, we also had a social 5 on Friday, 7 cases of beer. Thank you for the super chats. We appreciate that. And then I think, Joseph, you'd highlight this one from Kevin. Do we think Lucasfilm will show Starfighter trailer D23 in 2026?
Yeah, because D23 is usually August, right? So
usually,
Mandalorian and Grogu will have already come out.
Yeah.
I think we'll get a steady drop of Starfighter enthusiasm, and the second Mandalorian Grogu is out of the theaters. It's going to be nonstop Starfighter. I think Mandalorian Grogu feels like it's testing the waters, and if it does fine, that's okay. Yeah. Starfighter is the one I feel like for the 50th anniversary that Lucasfilm is already like, we got one of the biggest stars in the world. We got currently one of the hottest directors. That can change fast. And I think they want to knock Starfighter out of the park. So I think they're going to be even more aggressive than they are with Mandalorian and Grogu.
Absolutely. Heading into Star Wars Celebration 2027 in downtown Los Angeles, where you will find me eating every night at El Cholo, my favorite Mexican restaurant in downtown LA, which I made Joseph go to once.
It's very good. It's very good. There's other El Cholos too.
Yes,
it's so good.
We should take a trip to the other one. We should take that's the original one. The original one's the best. Thank you all for checking in. Thanks for all of you hanging out. I'm going to get to my evening of eating in and watching Death by Lightning, the perfect show for middle-aged white men who love history. I highly recommend out there. And it has Tay Colma and General Draven. They're in it as well.
Ooh, so many people to be a little mad at.
Indeed. And as always, Franny has realized it's time for the live stream to end, so she's going to start barking. Hey, thank you to all our callers, and not only just for calling the show, but that means you support us on Patreon, and that means a lot to us right now. Patreon.com/ForceCenter if you want to get in. Find us on social media. Links down below. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Check out my show, The Blathering, where I take calls every week as well from some of these crazy cats as well. And Joseph, the art goes on as you continue to get Dead Media into the world. Where can they find and follow that journey?
Yeah, you can, of course, follow me on social media for updates, but also I've set up a Dead Media mailing list, and this is not going to be a thing where you get spammed. It is only good. It's kind of like a Friends of Dead Media. So if I, get a screening booked in, somewhere in Seattle, I'll, put it out saying, hey, everybody, check this out. So if you'd like to sign up for that email list, I'm putting a link in the chat. Updates on our horror film Dead Media right there.
There we go. Love that. A good old-fashioned mailing list, because in this modern age, what's old is actually somewhat new again, right? Websites, mailing lists.
The old ways work.
A lot of comics do a mailing list now these days. It's something there.
Nimic would support mailing lists.
Indeed. That is it. That is the Star Wars. That is my news music. That's the Star Wars music I wanted to play. There we go. We're live. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.